Welcome to the Nailsin Ratings. I'm going to look at some aspects of superhero television. So we have, of course, Marvel and DC. And DC primarily has been a part of CW. And they had Arrow, and then The Flash, and then Supergirl, which was on, ABC, and then it moved over to CW, and it's a part of that lineup. And now you got Legends and Black Lightning, and apparently at some point it's possible that they might get a Batwoman series, and eventually maybe even a Superman series, which I highly endorse and recommend that they do. But the ratings are dipping for those shows, but they had a good run up to this point, and we're actually doing a lot better than the Marvel TV shows. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started off very badly, sort of found its place, but then the problems with Marvel was that they had to have this division that was imposed on them because the guy in charge of the TV shows didn't like the guy in charge of the movies, even though they're supposed to exist in the same universe. Then the Netflix shows, which Daredevil was easily the best of that bunch, and the others were interesting here and there, but just kind of fizzled. Now, of course, there's been the cancellations of Luke Cage and Iron Fist. And the belief is that Marvel's making moves to put everything under their own home and banner, and that the Disney streaming service will have new shows, and they will. As whether the Netflix shows will move there or be repurposed there or not, I don't know. Vincent D'Onofrio says, "Hey, they're not going to cancel Daredevil." Well, we'll see. But we know for sure they're going to present 2 new series with Loki and the Scarlet Witch. And that's interesting in that the movies can only do so much, whereas television has the ability to adapt the serial nature of comic books and that whole soap opera plot type aspects that can be in an ongoing TV series. I don't think these are going to be ongoing. I believe there's 8 episodes each, and that's probably going to be it, which I'll take it. So you'll get a more in-depth look at these characters and their story. As for whether or not you'll get cameos from the big stars or whatnot, I don't know. I don't know if Thor will show up in Loki. You might get the Vision to show up in Scarlet Witch. Who knows? And I'm wondering with the Disney buying the Fox property, so now they got X-Men and Fantastic Four back, that they can expand on Scarlet Witch being a mutant. You know, there's no mention of it because at the time they didn't have the rights to the X-Men for the Marvel movies. So now they can probably flesh that out a bit, and maybe that's what they'll be doing in that series. As for Loki, who knows? As far as we know, he's dead. But, well, he's a god, so perhaps he can come back. Or this will be some sort of prequel series. And maybe the two will cross over with each other. I don't know. They both dabble in magic, or what appears to be magic, so, we'll see. Then the other announcement, there was a rumor that, oh boy, it might be a Nick Fury series, and they said, no, but instead we're going to get a Bucky or Winter Soldier and the Falcon series. Now, so, hey, wait, what? Well, both men are the best buds of Captain America, and I don't think it's a big spoiler to know that Captain America will not survive the next Avengers movie. So this might detail these guys dealing with the death of their mutual friend and developing a friendship between the two of them as they tackle the forces of evil. So again, this will probably I don't know if it said that it's 8 episodes or what have you is the usual number for these sort of things, but But yeah, a limited scope here where you can take some guys who've been involved in the movies and have them committed to a TV series. So it would be limited, so it's probably like a 1-season deal, and it'll tell the story they've got planned for them, and there you go. Which is, again, a good idea, because you get that comic book nature to it far more in a television presentation than you would in a movie, because you've got a limited amount of time, whereas you have several, I'm assuming, hour-long episodes. So once they're done with these, they'll probably continue on with others. I don't think you're going to get an Iron Man series. It's too bad. That would be cool, but I don't think they can swing that check. and of course with Thor and the like, probably can't do it. But a lot of this idea of getting top talent, movie stars to come in and do a series like they did with Fargo and stuff is because it's limited, and they can make that commitment to that time. And it's like, well, we're doing 8 to 10 episodes or whatever of this thing, and you come in, you play the character, and you're good. And that's how you can swing that. And of course, since the 2000s began, we've had quite the renaissance in television, where the shows, quite a few of them, outdo the dramatic effect of movies. So that's kind of slacked off lately, but there's some shows that step up. You got Better Call Saul, which is just excellent, and stuff like that. So the idea that it's a step down, I think that should be over. If anyone's still thinking that, you need to pay attention. So there you have Winter Soldier and Falcon, and they're brought together by their probably their remorse over the loss of Captain America, and they go forward. There's a rumor that Captain America will be replaced like he was in the comics. First, Winter Soldier did, and then Sam Wilson, the Falcon, did as well. Then there's also a rumor that they might replace Captain America with a woman. All this stuff. You never beat the original. You almost never beat the original, and it's one of these things where why can't these characters have their own identity? The Falcon's been the Falcon for decades. Let him be the Falcon. And Winter Soldier is rather new, but he was Bucky and all that sort of thing. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see those shows. Meanwhile, news amongst the CW shows. Again, like I said, the ratings aren't great. The best of those shows is The Flash. And they've kind of fizzled plot-wise, because a lot of it's pretty repetitive. But the interesting thing is they've had these crossovers, and now this one is the most interesting of all, because it toys with the idea of the Crisis. If you're familiar with DC Comics, Crisis always involved a crossover between the multiple universe aspect of DC Comics, which DC pretty much dominated that theory going as far back as the 60s, where you could meet other versions of yourself or what have you. The world looks the same, but it's different, and all that sort of thing, which they should have really jumped on in the movies as well. Because there's some concern that might be what Marvel's going to do. To explain, it's kind of funny once Marvel scoops them again. But really cool is they've cast this actor, LaMonica Garrett, as the Monitor. Now, the Monitor was a key figure in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was an 80s series that was designed to streamline the DC universe and make it simple. The series in and of itself was pretty good. It holds up, and it's really fascinating to read and whatnot, and a difficult thing to pull off. It only had 12 issues and had to cram the entire DC universe in it, but George Perez, the artist, managed to do it. Unfortunately, the DC universe never really recovered from that. And there was all kinds of problems. It created more problems than it solved and all that. Probably should have left well enough alone. But anyway, they've cast this actor, Garrett, as the Monitor. And boy, he really looks the part. The outfit is pretty dead on. So that's really cool. And so I'm wondering if this refers to the crisis that results in the disappearance of the Flash. Now, in the original Crisis on Infinite Earth, the Barry Allen Flash dies at the end of that story, close to the end. I think it was issue 8. He dies. Boy, will they put something like that in there? I don't know. Or there'll be some time warp thing that makes it where it doesn't happen because his daughter has come from the future in his story and all that. But that looks cool, and maybe that'll gear up some excitement to people to come give these shows a chance. They're hoping to spin off a Batwoman series out of it and a Superman series, which would be really great. I look forward to those. And another cool aspect is John Wesley Shipp will be featured as his 90s Flash character, where they acknowledge that, yes, which they've already done with little cameos and Easter egg footage from the old show within the Flash, to show that, yes, there's these alternate timelines and universes, and so he can play that part again, and it looks really cool. They suited him up, and he looks just like he used to, so it's pretty cool. And maybe after all is said and done, they'll merge the universes so Supergirl can exist in the same world with the Flash instead of having to jump through a wormhole or whatever. And I still don't know if Black Lightning's a part of this, and I don't know if it's ever been established which universe he's in or if he's in one of his own. There was a line in the previous season where they mentioned Supergirl, and I thought, oh, well, is he in Supergirl's world? I don't know, but I will be watching it, and it looks pretty cool so far, just based on the promo images. Certainly the Monitor, that's pretty damn close to the character, so good on them. So the TV show, they pay a little bit more service and tribute to the source materials of the comics more so than the movies. And the movies, there was a division, unlike Marvel, which initially said that they were all connected and then acted like they weren't. But there was always a division between the movies and the TV shows when it came to DC. And stupid things like telling them, well, Arrow can have Deathstroke in as a villain, and then suddenly, okay, he can't. And then okay, he can now. No, he can't. You know, it was stuff like that, where they should make the attempt to own the idea that these are alternate versions and they're all part of the multiverse. And why not share at least just footage between the two when they do these crossovers and stuff, and they get a glance at how many different versions of themselves there are, and they could use old footage from even Christopher Reeve and stuff like that and say those worlds existed and that version and what have you happened. And so they could use some of the footage from the movies as well, and say, yeah, it's just another universe, and so on and so forth. So it's not that hard. It's just footage, and why not? It's doubtful that there'll be a cameo of Ezra Miller, running around. But still, just take the footage from the movies and stuff like that. But anyway, so there you go. An interesting look at some of the possibilities and things that are coming on the small screen of your favorite superheroes. So sorry for taking much longer than I anticipated talking about it, but there it goes, and I've linked some of the articles in the description below. There's also links to my mini stores, which you can check out, and while you're here, why not like and subscribe? Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.